So earlier, I wanted to post this video on TikTok, but there was no way I could really post it on TikTok because this is one of those conversations where it requires longer than a minute and a half, 2 minutes, or whatever. Because TikTok sometimes it's the type of platform where you lose people attention span because you have a lot of viral videos that's in the algorithm. People want to get a little quick fix or just only want to look at something for a few seconds, laugh, and then get back to whatever they're doing. But this is a serious conversation, a serious experience. And I don't want to make it sound like serious, but I guess serious enough where a lot of men can learn from it. And so this is one of my boys. He had hit me earlier today while I was at my day job or whatever. And I work in corporate, make a long story short or whatever. And I was on a training, basically training some new hires. And I saw my phone ring and I'm like, okay, all right, bro, I'll hit you on my lunch. I'm saying this to myself in my head. And then 2 minutes later go by, phone ring again. I'm looking at it, flashing on the desk. I'm like, man, I'm gonna hit you back, bro. I'm gonna hit you on my lunch break. I'm saying this to myself. 2 minutes later, it rang again, and I'm like, all right, well, let me step outside this training real quick, and talk to my boy real quick. So I pick up the phone in the hallway. I'm like, hey man, what's going down? I'm at the J, but everything all right? And immediately he like, bruh, I see exactly what you're talking about. And make a long story short, he is that's my boy, that's my brother. But he happens to be one of those major red pill, manosphere, MGTOW, passport bro type of, men. I've been trying to wing him off that stuff for the past year and a half, 2 years, might as well say 2 years. I've been trying to get him off of that nonsense because I've been telling him like, bro, it's demonic, it's toxic, it's ungodly, and that's cult-like behavior that you're engaging in. You got too much potential for that. But he had experienced something the other night that really upset him, and really he had like a one of those moments where it's like an aha moment. And he called me and he actually had to give me my props. And I'm like, what happened, bro? And he cussing, he mad, he venting, and I'm like, all right, bro, chill, what's going on? And he was like, man, my daughter went on a date last night. And she, apparently, she came back home from the date, and she was mad. She was kind of pissed off and she was mad at me. And this is what he was saying. And I'm like, she was mad at you about her date. What happened? So apparently she was on a date with a red pill man. I guess they were talking on the phone for a couple of days and he was kind of, sweet talking her and just saying the right stuff to get her out on a date or whatever. So they went out on a date and all of a sudden, what you bring to the table, 50-50. What value you think you can add to my life? And just on some arrogant red pill regurgitating talking points. And she's getting pissed off and she's getting mad at her dad as she's listening to this man come at her like this. And my boy, he telling me this story and I'm like, man, now I'm foaming. I'm not going to say I'm foaming at the mouth, but I'm chomping at the bit to really, really get on him. Okay. And we gonna come back to that. So I'm listening and he's like, man, how dare this SOB MF, come at my daughter like this? And I'm sitting here like smiling on the other end of the phone, like, really? And after he's done talking, cause he was like, man, I'm just upset that my daughter went through that. And I was kind of, upset at the fact that my daughter, bro, she mad at me. And you know what, bro, I feel some kind of way. And I'm like, you done? This is what I'm saying. You done? And he like, man, Jason, I already know, bro. I already know. But I see what you're talking about at the same time. I'm like, it is your fault. It is your fault that your daughter had to deal with that last night on that date. It's your fault. And he was just quiet. And I had to go in because I'm like, bruh, that red pill, that manosphere, that MGTOW passport, that cult-like polarizing, villainizing of women, It's men like you that has created this toxic environment that women like your daughter is going to struggle with finding a man. You've co-signed this upcoming younger generation of men's behavior. You've co-signed it, bro. You're the reason why she's dealing with this. You've participated in it because they looking at some of these OGs, and whatever you say, if these youngsters looking at you with this whole toxic rhetoric, red pill stuff, they're going to buy into it, and they're going to go into the universe, and our daughter's going to have to deal with this mess. And I've been telling them, bruh, this is going to show up on your doorstep one day. I don't know how, I don't know when, but it's in some kind of form. This is going to show up on your doorstep. And I said this when I talked to him earlier today. Remember when I was telling you this going to show up on your doorstep? And he was like, yeah, Jason. Dang, bro, I know what you're talking about. And I'm like, yeah, this is your fault. Men like you my boy, I love you like a brother. But this is why I've been trying to tell you to get out of that. Because you're infecting the mind of upcoming men, the upcoming generation of men. And if you are a man and you have a daughter and you love your daughter, you care about your daughter, and you want your daughter to be in a situation, in an environment where there are as many healed men around, that will be a great asset to your daughter's life. That's one of those things as men we have to try to contribute to. But this whole red pill, manosphere, MGTOW, so many men have contributed to the destruction of men. And I told him, bruh, yeah, she had every right to go off on you. She had every right, because she is aware that you've been watching this nonsense. I'm aware that you watch this nonsense. I've been trying to tell you to get off of it. And this is accountability, bruh. I'm gonna hold you accountable. And your daughter came home last night from that date. Sorry you had to deal with that, bruh. But she showed you that energy, and you deserve that energy. Your daughter, your baby, your little princess held you accountable. And now he's like, man, it's an aha moment. It's like, dang, now my daughter really out here with these men that's coming at her like this. Now my daughter got to navigate the universe around these type of men. I'm a father that's getting older and older, and my daughter is not attached to anybody. This is what he's realizing. So you can watch that content, laugh at it, enjoy it, get a little adrenaline rush, because there's so many men that watch that and they get somewhat of an adrenaline rush, because when they watch these podcasts with these men barking at women and having their way with these women on these shows, that they pre-select these certain women to come on these podcasts, a lot of these men, it makes them feel good, because the women that they see on these shows, it's like they visualize the face of the women that hurt them. It's like they visualize the face of their baby mother or their exes or whatever. And that's their opportunity to see them get bullied, and they enjoy it. That's why the algorithm is trash. That's why the internet is trash in so many ways. This whole gender war, all this other stuff. But it's not going to end anytime soon, unfortunately, because this world that we live on it's a lot of ungodliness, and this is the devil's playground. You have more people that's unhappy with themselves than they're actually happy with themselves and following through with their calling. There's more people that's off of their calling than on their calling. And I'm going to just say that, I'm going to just speak towards the men. And that's why we have so many unhealed men looking for guidance, looking for their daddy on the internet, looking for every little ounce of masculinity that they can see fit on the internet. Oh, okay. That's what he said. Is that how that works? That's how you're supposed to treat women? That's how you're supposed to view women? All right, I'm a co-sign that. And we got so many men walking around here. They don't know themselves. They view women through the lens of podcasters. It's sad we got 40-year-old men, 45-year-old men listening to 25-year-old podcasters. But a lot of these men complain about women not submitting to them. And it's like, how you want a woman to submit to you? But you're a 40-year-old man, 45-year-old man, almost 50, and you're submitting to a 25-year-old podcaster that's trying to tell you about life, and you're buying into it. But you want a woman to submit to you. But you're a weak man, and you're listening to 20-year-old podcasters. And there's so many men that's walking around here that's sheep. They claim to be alpha. They claim to be respectfully alpha, but they're not. It's monkey see, monkey do. Regurgitate the same talking points, have the same viewership of how they see women, villainize women. And like I say, they looking for their daddy on the internet. And whatever daddy says on the internet, daddy right, and I'm going to obey what daddy say on the internet that I'm looking at on this podcast. And you men ought to be ashamed of yourself. You ought to be ashamed of yourself. And what's crazy is what I'm saying right now, this is kind of like the accountability discussion that I had with my homie, earlier. Like, yeah, bro, this is your fault. This is your fault. That your daughter is out here dealing with this. Because this toxic environment that some of these women got to deal with, bruh. And I know women ain't perfect. I know women ain't perfect. But at the end of the day, the Bible says the man is the head. So it starts with us. It starts with us. That's why I cringe when I hear men have all these excuses, whining and crying about women all day long on these podcasts, crying. But women do it too. Like, bruh, I'm so tired of it. I'm so tired of, and it annoys the hell out of me because there's so many men, not only they whine about it, but some of these dudes, they became intellectual crybabies. They have these convincing intellectual excuses on why they are where they are and why women are the villain. And they constantly, professionally are goalpost movers. And I be sitting up here listening to some of these dudes babbling, sounding like politicians, corrupt politicians, the Western world, the modern women. And I'm like, God, dog, y'all sound alike. It's the Twilight Zone. And it's like whenever there's a man like myself that try to go against the grain, and I try to wake men up, and I try to tell them, nah, you're whining and you're crying, and you're crying and you're whining. Some of y'all dudes get mad at me and say, you are a beta. You are a simp. You are a beta. You are a simp. It's like a programming. So many of you men are programmed to say that whenever you see a man that's able to think for himself, that's a critical thinker. And as a critical thinker, as a man, my dad raised me to be a man for myself, not a man for other men. Strategic, proactive, critical thinking. And whenever I listen to men, this is the thing. When I listen to men whine and cry about women all day, every day, sun up to sundown, I'm listening to the excuses. You complain about women if they have kids. You complain about women if they don't have kids, you complain about women that's independent. And I'm saying to myself, all women gotta be independent, because until further notice, in the meantime, how's she gonna pay her bills? She gotta take care of herself. So that whole independent argument, that's trash. That excuse, fellas. What's the other one? You shame women if they 30, 35, 40 or older, if they single, something wrong with her, man. She hit the wall. She's single for a reason. You shame women that, what's the other one? That's young and they prime, deeming them as, man, she young, man. She just want to use you for your money, man. She a young gold digger, man. She just going to set you up. And I say to myself, as a man, as a critical thinker that know how to think for myself logically, when I hear men write off all categories of women, don't y'all realize y'all have eliminated women out of the equation? Now you have no other women to complain about, because the only thing else that's left now is men. And that's a whole nother conversation that I'm gonna go into. But fellas, this is what I'm talking about, the toxicity. Like, what do you like? What do you want? Okay? Because every woman falls in those categories. Every woman falls into those categories. And it's like you have all these reasons of why none of them are worth picking. So I guess you want a man. Man, I ain't gay, man. No, you want a man. Because you wrote women out of the equation with your whining and your crying. And yes, the snot running and the tears and the pacifier and the bibs. And I'm like, dang, bruh. But anyway, I don't want to make it, go on a long tangent, man. But it was just funny to me, and I'm glad my boy had went through that, and it's a learning experience. And yeah, I'm glad his daughter held his feet to the fire, just like I did. And so now I was, he texted me earlier, bro, and he was like, man, I just had to unsubscribe from some of that content, bro. I'm gonna go on a fast, a red pill fast, and I'm good. I'm like, good, so if this is like a red pill intervention or whatever, hey, I see fit to it. You know what I'm saying? Like, if this is gonna make you better as a man, abandoning that ship, and if this is gonna make you realize some things about your traumas as a man, by all means, bruh, I welcome men to become a better version of themselves and to seek Christ. Okay? Because red pill, like I say, is ungodly. It's toxic. It's the devil playing in your face. Red pill. I'm gonna end this by giving you a concept. What is the color of rage? What is the color of anger? Red. What is the color of sin? Red. Look it up. What is the color of destruction? Red. What is the color of the enemy, of the villain, of revenge? If you don't believe me, look it up. What is the color of revenge? Red. What is the color, last but not least, what is the color of Satan, of the devil? Whether you want to talk about references of the cartoon devil with his little pitchfork or whatever, red. That's the devil playing in your face. And you are participating in a legacy of Satan winning. You are helping Satan win, because Satan is the author of confusion, the author of chaos, the author of death, sin, destruction. You are participating in that. How does that feel? Anyway, I just want to chime in on that, man. But I'm a post more here on YouTube. Subscribe to the channel if you like what you heard. But I'm holding men accountable, and I'm trying to help some of y'all daughters get married. Believe it or not. So whenever I see men whining and crying in my comment section on TikTok, and I try not to block men because I want, even though through all that trolling, I think some of these men can still learn, it's going to sink in somehow, some way. I'll take a break and I'll look at a troll profile. And what saddens me is when I'll go to their profile and I'll see them doing TikToks with their daughter. Do you love your daughter enough to abandon Red Pill? You're upset that I'm trying to hold men accountable to make a world a better place and help your daughter get married someday. But you're mad at me because I don't sound like the men that you listen to. I don't pander to your crybaby ego. For some of you men that think you alpha, you're not as alpha as you think you are. Anyway, man, y'all have a good one. Peace.